Hello everyone, this video will cover a very common opening called the King's Gambit. This opening is very good for maintaining a good control in the center, and so let's get right into the opening. You're going to start by moving e4, and this opening is played against e5, which luckily is a very common move, so you can get this opening in most of your games. Now, although most people might start developing some knights here, might force for black to defend this pawn with by moving this other knight to f3, you're going to move f4, and this might not look very attractive at the first glance because you're, well, automatically losing a pawn. Don't worry, you're going to get this back. So this video is going to cover the option that black has of capturing. And that being said, black has another option and a couple other options. Black has a few different choices. So tell me if in the comments below if you guys want to see the other variations. But this video is going to cover the King's Gambit accepted version, which means that black accepted this free pawn and, well, the game continues. Now here, some people have a different mindset about how you should develop this. Some people want to go straight out for the bishop. This was often played by Bobby Fischer. That being said, I think the best move and the move that you should kind of have in mind is moving your knight here. You first of all, and by the way, let's stop right there. You can see that although you're down a pawn, you have two center pawns. For black's, well, one center pawn. So black only has this one center pawn, while you have two center pawns that are now controlling the middle of the board. And so moving this knight here, it's good for maintaining control. And also, black is usually going to want to protect this pawn. When they see a pawn that's undefended and kind of alone and isolated from, well, everything else that black has done, which is nothing in this case, but alone from any future developments that black might have, you want to protect it. So you're going to probably see a move like this, which is called the King's Knight Gambit. You're trying to protect this pawn and kind of begin a structure of pawns that, well, white won't be able to come back from. And against this, you're going to play pawn to h4. And now let's pause again and think about what black can do. Black has two main options. Black can either capture, or black can progress up here. And I mean, black can also move these pawns here, and I guess we can also cover that. If black moves one of these pawns, and same goes for the other one, you're just going to capture. And after capture, although you are down a pawn, you have two center pawns, and then you have a lot of developments that are going, well, not there, but a lot of developments that are going to begin, and you're going to castle queenside and protect the king nicely. But most importantly, you have this really nice, not diagonal, but this H-file open for your rook. And so your rook can get action very quickly. So that happens if, let's head back to H4. That happens if they decide to protect. Which is why you're not really going to protect. It kind of defeats the purpose of trying to maintain that pawn up. So you might see a capture, and similarly, you're going to capture with your knight. You could capture with the rook, but I just much prefer the knight. And now you have a very similar idea. You have two central pawns, a lot of pieces, not there, but a lot of pieces that could start getting into your developments. And then you have a very nice queen side castle and an open H-file. Okay, now this is why black is usually just going to push the pawn up. They don't want you to give you this open H-file. They want you to, be forced to move your knight, and they want to have two, not particularly strong pawns, but two pawns nonetheless in your territory. And so you can retreat it to a couple of positions. or even back to the place that it started, but you're going to want to retreat it here, or not retreat it, but accelerate it to g5. And again, this might not look very attractive, but the good thing about having this pawn here is that this knight is now very protected. And so now black has a very interesting idea. Okay, black is going to realize that this knight doesn't have a lot of squares. This knight cannot go there. This knight cannot go there, obviously because of this pawn right here. That's going to capture on both of these. On both of these squares. Knight cannot go there because you have a piece there. The knight cannot go there, or there, or there because, well, it can go there, but it will get captured. So black, I guess, recognizes this and is going to want to push one of these two pawns up the board. Okay, so first I'm going to tell you what if black makes the mistake. Now the mistake is if black decides to push this pawn. If black pushes this pawn, you're very happy. You're going to capture this pawn, and obviously black is going to capture this. I mean, that's the whole purpose of moving this pawn here, is to get this knight. So after black captures, you're going to move here in check. This forces black to move the king here, and you're going to move here, again in check. And, well, this forces black to move, and it doesn't really matter where, but let's just say for the purposes of this video, black moves there. You can now capture this pawn here, again in check, but even if black decided to move here, you can capture this not in check, and again, you have very nice central control and a really nice ability to get a quick start in development. So that is the mistake that black makes if they move this pawn, and you're going to be very happy about that, and well, you're going to capture a couple of pawns back, and after this you are still going to be down one pawn, but it's a really nice position and definitely worth that one pawn. Now if black plays this, it's a little bit more tricky. You cannot play this because now if black captures, well, first of all, your rook can capture, but also you're not even in check, so or you're not giving check because of this pawn. So you can no longer do this, and instead you're going to play another move that once again might not seem very appealing, but you're going to move your knight here. And I said how there's no squares for the knight, and I said that there's no squares without being captured. And you're going to allow for black to capture. And I mean, the only option black has is to capture unless he wants to lose his rook here, obviously, with the fork on the queen. So black's going to capture, and now you have a few options. First of all, you have two very useless pawns, and you can either capture them now, or you can even just wait and capture later. I'm going to first show you what you can do if you want to capture them immediately. You can move your queen here, and if black maybe moves his knight here to, I mean, target the queen, you can now capture this. And I mean, black doesn't have too many options. Even if black starts moving the knight here, you can, well, capture this and check. So you can start moving your queen and capturing back the pawns that you lost. If you want, you can play another move, which is moving your bishop to c4. And it doesn't necessarily yield something immediately because black, I mean, can still retreat to many squares, but you're just maintaining pressure on this, and then after black moves, you can now capture this pawn and now this pawn. However, neither of these two options are my favorite. My favorite, depending on how high-rated the opponent is, you might want to capture, but my favorite is to ignore these two pawns because they aren't causing any trouble. And if this pawn actually were to push, you could easily take that trade, and now you have a totally free rook and a really nice diagonal for your bishop as well, and so you're very happy. And I'll actually show that. Let's say you move your knight here. You can see that now you just have so much going for you. First of all, it's check, so black can move there. You can now move your bishop there to a nice diagonal. You can move your rook here to a nice file. You get a boost in development. So black, is not going to do this, which means that you can always capture this pawn here, which is wonderful, and then after that capture this. So, which is why, because you always have this constant ability to capture these two weak pawns, you don't necessarily need to capture them now. You can choose to just play normal. You can move this. I think this is the best move because you now gain complete control in the center. All of these red squares or circles rather, are yours. And it's going to be very hard for black to get any action because black really just doesn't have any great moves. Black, his king is in the center. There's no chance for him to castle, obviously. And so black can move get some developments going, but realistically, you can start your own developments and castle now queenside. And so with the King's Gambit, you're going to castle queenside. As you can see, you're not in any good condition with your pawn structure to castle kingside. So you're definitely going to castle queenside into a very protected and nice area. And that's essentially the basics of the King's Gambit accepted. Once again, make sure you guys tell me if you guys want to see the declined version, because although I'll go all the way to the back, although from here you might expect if black plays this, then there's nothing that you can do. It's very wrong. You have ideas of pushing this pawn up, and you have a wonderful setup. So if you guys want me to go over that as well, leave it in the comments below, and I'll make sure to make a video about that as well. Other than that, if you guys enjoyed this video, then like, subscribe, and comment, and tell me as well other openings you guys are interested in seeing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.